Alright guys, so we've got AC Lawson and Stormkeeper facing off in, I think it's the second round of the Warchief Club 11. No, Warchief Club 12, sorry, America's Trials. So we've got Stormkeeper as the Russ and AC Lawson as the Russ. So remember, AC Lawson in the red trunks and Stormkeeper in the blue trunks. So both of our players going to go for a hunting cabin, a house and a lumber camp fairly early on here, because they want to be able to train a third scout out of the cabin and not get housed and get some wood. So the beauty of being Rus, you're going to gather gold with sheep kills, with huntable kills, and with orphan boar kills. So on top of that, these cabins, not only do they gain gold, they gain it quicker based on the amount of bounty you've accrued from those kills. And on top of that, you do get a little gathering steroid with that. So our players beelining towards 100 and then hopefully 250 apiece gold accrued. So yeah, both of our players training scouts out of their hunting cabin as well, I believe. No, as AC Lawson only got the 2 scouts, eh? He didn't go for one out of his cabin, but I believe Stormkeeper has. So you got 1. And we have got 3 scouts apiece. So yeah, they did both go 4 early scouts out of their cabins, which is really important, particularly in this matchup, considering they're both going to go for 3 scouts. Well, considering the other player is probably going to go for a 3rd scout. So you just want to be able to accrue as much bounty as you possibly can at this stage, and right now, it's pretty neck and neck. I mean, we're playing on Hill and Dale. Hill and Disgusting, as I like to call it. I do not like it. Total Fest, rubbish. Hate playing China or English on it. Jesus Christ. But, maps aside. Ooh, it's not good. I don't know if everyone's able to fit around that 1 sheep there. For AC Lawson. He's going to probably have to bring a second one home pretty quickly. It looks like Stormkeeper's actually pinching one of these sets of deer. So, ooh, I think Stormkeeper is looking to be in a little bit better shape. Having pinched this hunt as well as taken this one over here, I believe. So AC Lawson trailing by about 100 gold on his bounty. And at the moment, it is actually costing him 5% gather rate on his food. Well, he's missing out on another 5% on top of the earlier 5%. Not sure how it actually stacks, whether it's additive or cumulative or whatever. Multiplicative, sorry. Cumulative is additive. So, it's a wood gathering here for AC Lawson. A little bit less for Stormkeeper, while he's still gathering quite a bit of food. So he hasn't yet thrown down his golden gate, but it is on the way now. We've got 4 villages versus 3 buildings, so Stormkeepers is not going to build as quickly, but it will close the gap just about. I do like this, AC Lawson going for an early wooden fortress. Perhaps that's why he was gathering so much early wood. So in the meantime, he can just get back on the food. He's still got 3 food gatherers. He can always just assign another one on there. Little scout v scout action happening. Anything going to come of this, or is one player going to pull back? Yeah, Stormkeeper does, having taken the later hit. And AC Lawson's bringing across a 2nd scout. So, yeah, both players wooden fortress early. Which is good, because another Rus unique mechanic is when you're in the influence range of your towers, your fortresses in this case, you actually gain a 20% wood gathering steroid. So I'd be interested to see if these players followed up with the fairly typical get on the boar with a fortress and a cabin and hope to try and pull the cabin and the boar as close to a wood line as possible. It's really efficient gathering. Another one of Stormkeeper scouts under a bit of threat, and this time it might go down. It does go down, because I think he's paying attention to over here. So AC Lawson having killed one of Stormkeeper's scouts at this stage. The other one back at his base. So AC Lawson hasn't quite hit that second tier of the food income and the gold generation out of his cabin. But that's pretty inconsequential, he's got the better cabin anyway. But what'll be interesting to see is if either player goes for this boar or this boar. And I mean, obviously the one at the top going to be worth a little bit more. I mean, I overestimate the value of the cabin pretty profusively, but I don't know if our players will bother. AC Lawson going to catch another scout of Stormkeepers and try and cut him down. So, both our players... Ooh, well, actually, yeah, both our players are doing the stone switch from the gold out of the golden gate. Because, I mean, you're going to generate quite a bit of gold out of one cabin. You only really need to have a couple of gold gatherers over here just to make sure you can get upgrades like wheelbarrow, like AC Lawson has. And Stormkeeper hasn't got wheelbarrow just yet. He's got shitloads of wood in the bank so he can throw down lots of production behind a second town centre, I believe. Actually, AC Lawson's the one with shitloads of wood in the bank. Stormkeeper's also got, well, just about a shitload. But Stormkeeper, doesn't have the gold just yet to be able to do a second flick of his gold to stone. I think he's actually used... Actually, yeah, no, he has now, because he's waited for a third one so he could sell wood to gold, and then gold to stone. So he's going to get a second town centre as well, be a little bit later than Lawson's. So we've got rangers and a blacksmith here from AC Lawson. And the stables here, the Stormkeeper. Not sure if other players really spotted one another's production at this stage, given that their scouts are out in the middle of the map. I don't think they have. But they can be pretty assuming that their opponent is going to get a second town centre. Because given the ease of being able to build it, in this matchup in particular, they're going to want to go for that. Then maybe go for a quick castle age after just an initial push. I mean, the bows are nice, archers, if you can get them over here to harass, but your opponent can always just go one or two stables and sort of lock them out till you get castle age. So we've got an early knight actually. So Rus, one of the two civs that gets access to age 2 knights. Even better against archers than the horsemen, and also a little bit tankier and higher damage in general, making them pretty great for raiding over here. Great for just locking down the map somewhere and taking age 3, because it looks like AC Lawson's got stacks of food in the bank. He might be looking at going for a quick age 3. Well, he doesn't have a lot of wood or gold at the moment. Well, Stormkeeper. Got a couple of knights out in the map. Just looking to suss his opponent out, clearing his scouts out, deny any vision, and try and get a villager kill or two here. Or maybe try and deny some gathering. He's actually going to go for the gold first when there's slightly more vills up here, but he's going to actually wrap around back and harass the berry bush as well. Just denying a little bit of gathering for a bit of knight health. Triple range here from Lawson actually, so this is an interesting choice, and he's got an early blacksmith. Hasn't yet gone for any upgrades as such, but he's got, yeah, the wood and the gold and the food, sorry, to get a quick abbey. And behind this, he's going to be able to get triple crossbowman production actually, so this is pretty nifty. Because all he needs to do is add steel arrow and siege engineering, and suddenly Knight production is not going to cut it from Stormkeeper. He's actually going to have to get a lot of horsemen, or get his own ranged, or man-at-arms. I mean, not man-at-arms, sorry. Yeah, get his own bowman. So AC Lawson going to try and wall off the front of the map, prevent any quick, aggressive play from Stormkeeper while he takes this quick castle age. Stormkeeper's got a couple of idle gatherers, few too many over here on the hunt, but he might be looking to fix that up shortly. He's going to know when it runs out for good, when he's got like, how many's he got there? 34 villages when they idle. But while this is going on, he's getting some good harass off. AC Lawson trying to get a lot of gold. Well, trying to get a little bit of gold. Actually, he's not. Actually, sorry, I take that back. He's getting a lot of food, which is interesting because he's going to need to get a bit of gold to get either his own knights or get some crossbows out. So Stormkeeper is working towards his abbey now, and it is a little bit slower, but he does have some knights inside the walls with AC Lawson at the moment, who doesn't really have anything to stop this, but he is going to get some horse archers actually. So he'll be able to hit and run for days here. Stormkeeper gonna have to try and focus down the palisade wall or get out of here. While this is going on, AC Lawson is aware that Stormkeeper's now out in the field with this hunting cabin. Don't think he's seen this one over at the top here. This one's actually going to generate a little bit of gold, nothing major. But this is nice. Stormkeeper's going to be able to... Ooh, I was going to say he's going to be able to pick off those vills with that knight. But he does want to get out. He doesn't want to lose either knight either, because it's a pretty big loss when the opponent's got some horse archers and a warrior monk now. So AC Lawson going to be able to get a good amount of map control out of this. And while the warrior monk is like a shitty damage knight, they still have a charge attack, and when they get that attack off, they are going to buff melee units and close range units in terms of, I think, attack speed. Is it? No, attack damage. These horse archers will be able to kite pretty well, but bearing in mind they actually don't hit terribly hard against the heavier melee damage units, so cavalry will actually be able to catch up. The horsemen, I think, lose out against them, but a mix of horses and knights is good. And then the horsemen are good against the crossbowmen, cost-wise. But AC Lawson, in the meanwhile, is he adding any armory? He hasn't added any armory just yet. While Stormkeeper adding bloomery, so he wants melee damage. He's already got the ranged armor upgrade from H2. He's trying to camp this relic over here because he knows AC Lawson looking to take the relics already. And I mean, Stormkeeper does have his own warrior monk. He can probably pinch this relic and get out while this fight he will do. So nice work considering he doesn't have the force to actually take this fight. But he will get one more charge attack off. Probably should disengage. AC Lawson has great numbers here. Yeah, he will do so. Get a couple more kills. Not sure who's actually more expensive in that fight. Oh, okay, so the horse archers are actually pretty cheap. I think they're the same cost as the horsemen. Yeah, in terms of overall value. But it was smart of Stormkeeper to steal that relic like that. Meanwhile, AC Lawson. See, was there a relic up on that top side? AC Lawson able to actually pressure that hunt, which is now finished, I believe. But still, those villagers are locked up, not actually gathering. Yeah, I think it's finished. And meanwhile, this one over here is being pressured, so it's going to force Stormkeeper to actually tower it. So he's going to have to make an investment that can't move around the map like your horse archers can. So this is a smart play by AC Lawson. Meanwhile, ooh, Stormkeeper's missed the opportunity to grab that relic, but he can clean this up and he'll be able to. relic here for him. Relic here for him. So AC Lawson going to grab this bottom side relic. Don't know if anyone's going for those two up the top. They are pretty safely positioned for Stormkeeper at the moment. And Stormkeeper going to look at taking the other boar now. So he's up to 400 bounty gold v 240 for AC Lawson. And bearing in mind, Stormkeeper, if there's 25 gold worth left on the map, he can hit that third tier, which is handy, but I don't think there will be at this stage. Yeah, he's taken... Oh no, there's the ball. There's still more on it. Ooh, AC Lawson going for a convert attempt just to save his warrior monk, but he's going to get the relic regardless. So we got 65-18 and 70-15. So Stormkeeper, slightly less units in eco and in army at the moment. But AC Lawson's probably going to lose this warrior monk here. Yeah, he'll go down. And these relics should be under Stormkeeper's control, I think. On the meanwhile, AC Lawson, while he's got a bit of value out of this actually, he's managed to pick off everything except one of the ball gatherers there. So a nice little snipe by him. But I think he's... Well, here we go. He's got range damage from age 2, and he's getting ranged armor from age 2. But Stormkeeper, I think, has probably got a little bit of a lead in upgrades by now. He's adding siege as well. And yeah, Stormkeeper has second and third age armor and second age damage, so he actually does have a slight upgrade lead. And adding some mangonels, that plus melee is going to actually make this very hard. That plus fast melee is going to make this very hard for AC Lawson. There's no infantry for him to really bully, so he's actually going to have to try and snipe them things around the map, like pick off mangonels like this that are just out in the field. Ooh, but yeah, he is going to see it, so he's going to be able to pick it off in 3 shots. That'd be nice for him, and he can even look at harassing this boar up here. But while this is going on, Stormkeeper venturing over as well. He probably should actually deselect the mangonel and have his cavalry engage as quickly as possible while the mangonel follows up. Because, I mean, it won't get caught. It's really only when it's heading back and it's behind everything closer to your opponent that it's a problem. When it's heading on your side, you really want the fast units to be able to reinforce as quickly as possible. So AC Lawson can look at locking down this sacred. In terms of relic possession, he's got 2, Diego's got 3. So, oh sorry, not Diego, Stormkeeper's got 3. So Stormkeeper with 3 relics, AC Lawson with 2. AC Lawson capturing his second sacred, and it looks like he'll even be able to take the third one, just judging by what he's got on the field here. But does he have any siege at the moment? He's having another warrior monk and a whole bunch of horse archers still. But with mangonels in the mix, this is going to make it a bit dicey for him to actually stick around. He will be able to keep kiting though. So he definitely has that hit and run advantage, but while this is going on, Stormkeeper's trying to retake one of the sacred sites. Ooh, and now the mangonels are able to unwind and get a couple of shots off. So AC Lawson retreating, and he's going to drop that sacred. He's going to drop both sacreds. But he is up by about 24 population at the moment, so 79-49 versus 78-26. So the eco difference is actually really evened out now. But AC Lawson does have a slightly bigger army here. But the warrior monk, can they heal? Yeah, the warrior monk needs to get close enough to actually heal the low units here. So that's one problem with just sort of relying on your units to just make do. Now that the warrior monk's healed up the front of the units, he needs to get further back to heal up the rest. While this is going on, Stormkeeper setting up to take this sacred site. AC Lawson possibly still take that one down the bottom. And the Relic Gold doing both players a bit of a favour here. They can always look at using their golden gates to flick the gold back into food and wood. And neither players really used their supply in recent minutes, which probably look at giving them an edge. Like Stormkeeper, dump the gold into food and wood. AC Lawson could probably flick the gold between, well, back to wood and then back to gold. Look at really coming out ahead in terms of their resources at the moment. Free themselves up to spend a little bit more. I think they are still getting the upgrades, so AC Lawson has a few in queue here. Well, Stormkeeper, for the moment, hasn't actually really added a lot of upgrades for the last couple of minutes. But right now he's going to try and keep and maintain these sacreds. So he's parking his army on the center one, going to capture the top one, which is relatively undefended. It looks like AC Lawson's going to at least start forting around here so he can maintain control of these resources on the map. Because one thing you don't want to have happen in Hill and Dale is a lockout from low ground resources, because that's a lot of gold you're going to be surrendering. You don't have a lot on your high ground. Both players get one big vein and two small veins, I believe. And I mean, it sounds like a lot, but you will bleed through 16k gold in a longer game. Especially if you're making knights. Maybe not so much if you're making horse archers, but yeah, particularly once you start transitioning to a food gold eco army. Ooh, Stormkeeper's pop capped at 130, while AC Lawson's actually managed to boom up in terms of pop behind this really, really well. But the horse archers, I don't know if they're the greatest comp at this stage of the game, now that there's been that many mangonels and trebs added. But there is now a bunch of springalds and man-at-arms and some spears in the mix here for AC Lawson. So this is a nice addition to his comp. It's going to be very hard for him to just send the knights straight onto the horse archers, but in saying that, it only is going to take 2 or 3 volleys for this melee to fall in the face of these mangonels, but they are going to slow down Stormkeeper's ability to disengage here, and he certainly has a lot less army than his opponent at the moment. AC Lawson 93.96, Stormkeeper 92.34, so his military much smaller than his opponents at the moment. AC Lawson continuing to push forward with his massive horse archers. And the addition of all this melee has been working wonders for him. The Stormkeeper adding some springalds of his own. And he hasn't really added any more upgrades, while AC Lawson still chewing through a few. And once he does, he's got ranged damage H2, melee and ranged armor H2. So he's actually now swung things in his favour in terms of the upgrades. But there is plenty of defense out here on the map for Stormkeeper. He's got keeps and fortresses ready to go. It looks like AC Lawson might be able to actually get away with keeping these other two. And once he does, he's free to actually get warrior monks on both of them. And he can start a bit of a favourable exchange against Stormkeeper. Because I mean, while Stormkeeper's up by a relic, being up by a sacred site offsets that. And then you can always get on the third sacred and lock out the game from there. On top of that, the low ground map control, it's really swung towards AC Lawson's way now. He's pop capped, he's got stacks of melee, he's got enough horse archers he might actually be able to bring down. Oh, there's no mangonels. Oh, there is still mangonels. Oh no, they're just trebs. There's one mangonel. But this isn't going to be enough against this much melee, I don't think. And is it too close for the mangonel to actually engage, or? Yeah, it must be. That's a nice shot on those horse archers, but AC Lawson is still up above the 180 pop mark. Stormkeeper struggling to stay above 130 at the moment. And with this many Springles, ooh, these Springles haven't been microed onto the enemy Springles, so Stormkeeper going to lose his Springles pretty much for free there, rather than picking off one or two of AC Lawson's, and GG. Stormkeeper has to tap out. And both of our players still in the tournament, with AC Lawson going through to the third round, Stormkeeper going through the losers bracket.